Here are the 11 times Meghan Markle's PR moves completely backfired. Wait for the 9th because it is absurd and surprising. The interview that was supposed to reset Meghan Markle's image became the moment that divided public opinion more than anything before it. What was meant to be a chance to tell her side of the story quickly turned into one of the most debated royal interviews in recent history. When Meghan and Prince Harry sat down with Oprah Winfrey in 2021, millions of people tuned in, expecting to hear what life behind palace walls had really been like. The interview made headlines around the world almost overnight. Meghan spoke about her struggles inside the royal family, her mental health, and the challenges she said she faced as a working royal.
I want him to be a prince or a princess, not knowing what the gender would be, which would be different from protocol.
Some viewers praised her for speaking openly, but others questioned parts of the interview after several claims were later challenged or disputed in media reports and public discussion.
And that he wasn't going to receive security.
What?
Instead of ending the controversy, the interview kept it alive for months. Polls in both the UK and the US showed public opinion becoming more divided, and every new interview afterward seemed to reopen the same debate. Rather than giving Meghan a fresh start, many critics felt it became the beginning of an even bigger PR challenge. But one claim from that interview refused to disappear. It wasn't about palace life itself. It was about something much simpler: the idea that no one ever showed her how to be royal. That claim became one of the most talked about parts of Meghan's public story. For many people, it wasn't what she said that stood out. It was whether the claim matched what they believed actually happened behind palace doors.
I remember we're in the car and driving up and he said, "You know how to curtsy, right?" And I just thought it was a joke.
During the Oprah interview, Meghan said she received little guidance before becoming a senior royal. She explained that she had to search online to learn the British national anthem.
There was no guidance as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were certain things that you couldn't do, but unlike what you see in the movies, there's no class on how to speak, how to cross your legs, how to be royal. There's none of that training. That might exist for other members of the family. That was not something that was offered to me.
So nobody tells you anything?
No.
Nobody prepares you?
No, but even down.
And later described practicing her curtsy on her own before meeting Queen Elizabeth II.
How do you explain that you vow to your grandmother and that you will need to curtsy, especially to an American?
Those stories were meant to show how overwhelming the experience felt from her point of view, but they also sparked immediate debate. Royal commentators, former palace staff, and many members of the public pointed to reports that new members of the royal family are normally supported by private secretaries, experienced aides, and household staff.
It was like that. Like I curtsied as though I was like, "Pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty."
Whether people believed Meghan's account or not, the conversation quickly shifted away from sympathy and toward questions about credibility. Instead of strengthening her image, the discussion became another source of public division. That debate over credibility didn't end there. Before long, people began looking back at another story Meghan had told for years, one about a letter she wrote as an 11-year-old that she often described as changing a national advertising campaign.
It's hard. I don't think anybody could understand that. But in all fairness, I had no idea, which probably sounds difficult to understand here.
That childhood story soon became the center of a debate all its own. For years, Meghan has shared the same inspiring memory, saying that at just 11 years old, she wrote a letter to Procter & Gamble after seeing a dish soap commercial she believed was sexist.
In the commercial, they said women are battling grease, meaning only women do dishes. When I heard this, the boys in my class...
According to the story, the company changed the ad from saying women all over America to people all over America. And Meghan has often pointed to that moment as proof that even one voice can create change. It's an uplifting story, and she's told it everywhere, from speeches at the United Nations to interviews and public appearances.
Procter & Gamble changed the commercial for their Ivory Clear dishwashing liquid. They changed it from women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans to people all over America. It was at that moment that I realized the magnitude of my...
But as the story became more famous, people started looking into the details. Some reports suggested the letter had actually been part of a class assignment, while others noted that Procter & Gamble has never publicly confirmed that Meghan's letter alone led to the commercial being changed. Even Vanity Fair reportedly removed references from the story after fact-checking questions arose. None of that proved the story was false, but it did shift the conversation. Instead of focusing on the message, many people began debating how much credit Meghan deserved. That growing skepticism followed her into almost every new interview. And before long, she made another attempt to connect with the public, this time by explaining just how hard she believed her everyday life had become.
I heard this, the boys in my class started saying, yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen. They knew it hurt my feelings. It makes me feel like they're gonna grow up thinking that girls are less than them.
The conversation was no longer just about old stories. It had moved into Meghan's current life, and this time, she wanted people to see how much work happened behind the scenes. During an appearance on the Jamie Kern-Lima show, Meghan spoke at length about balancing multiple projects at once. She described writing newsletters, reviewing podcast episodes, helping shape social media posts, approving photography, editing her Netflix series, while also being a wife, a mother, and a friend.
To the world, it's just, what has she been doing? Does she work? As opposed to, oh my gosh, I work so hard, and I appreciate what hard work looks like. I like working hard. And I'm still working hard, right?
The message was clear. She wanted viewers to understand that her success didn't happen by accident and that she worked constantly to keep everything moving. But the reaction online wasn't what many expected. Some listeners appreciated hearing about the amount of planning involved in building new businesses and media projects. Others argued that the responsibilities she described were made easier by the resources available to someone with household staff and a production team. Critics said the interview came across less like an honest look behind the curtain and more like an attempt to earn recognition for work that many people quietly do every day without talking about it.
Right? The moment that everything sells out, it doesn't mean that we're done. Yeah. It means we're working on replenishment and what are the next SKUs and what's the next tranche of products and what's the timing on that and writing the newsletters and writing the social media captions and making sure that all that feels in line and what's the cadence of it and what's the photography that we want to do and what do I want to wear for those shoots, while also editing all the time-coded notes for season 2 of With Love Meghan, and then being in edits for the podcast and being a mom and a wife and a friend.
Once again, the discussion shifted away from Meghan's intended message and toward the gap between how she presented herself and how many viewers saw her. That setup of being just like everyone else didn't end with a podcast. Soon, it followed her all the way to a farmer's market in Montecito, where one ordinary shopping trip became another unexpected PR headache. The farmer's market looked like the perfect chance to appear down to earth. Instead, it became another PR moment that divided opinion. Meghan was photographed walking through the Montecito farmer's market, browsing fresh flowers, produce, and local products, while security stayed nearby. Reports also noted that one of her dogs accompanied her, despite the market's posted no dogs policy, adding another layer to the online discussion. For supporters, it was simply a casual outing. For critics, the steady camera coverage made the visit feel more like a planned public appearance than a private shopping trip. They argued that even an ordinary trip to buy vegetables seemed polished for the cameras, making it harder to believe the relaxed image being presented.
Cole made a public appearance at the Montecito Farmers Market and brought her dog, despite the no dogs allowed policy.
Once again, the conversation shifted away from the outing itself and toward questions about authenticity. That debate reached a new level when Meghan launched her Netflix lifestyle series. One scene, built around nothing more than a bag of Trader Joe's pretzels, quickly became one of the most talked about moments from the entire show. The farmer's market wasn't the last time Meghan tried to build a more relatable image. She soon brought that same idea to Netflix, hoping viewers would see a warmer, more personal side of her life. Instead, one small moment ended up stealing the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. In the first episode of With Love, Meghan showed viewers how she likes to package snacks for guests. Rather than handing over a store-bought bag of Trader Joe's peanut butter pretzels, she emptied them into another clear plastic bag before giving them away. It was likely meant to be a simple hosting tip, but the internet immediately latched onto it. Clips spread across social media, with many people asking why a sealed bag of pretzels needed to be transferred into another bag at all.
Thinks she's doing something revolutionary in her kitchen, which isn't actually a kitchen, but a set. Removing peanut butter pretzels from one plastic bag into another, but adding a label that was popular on Pinterest in 2015.
Instead of making the gesture feel thoughtful, critics said it looked unnecessary and overly polished. The pretzels quickly became one of the most talked about moments from the series, overshadowing many of the recipes and lifestyle ideas the show was meant to highlight.
This, we're just gonna put into a different bag.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
It's another bag.
That confuses people.
The conversation didn't stop with pretzels. Another scene from the same series, built around a single joke, quickly gave viewers something else to talk about. The pretzel clip had already put the show under a microscope. Then came a joke that many viewers felt missed the mark entirely. While preparing breakfast during With Love, Meghan smiled and joked, "My bacon brings all the boys to the yard," a playful reference to the famous song Milkshake.
Husband and 3 dogs. It's not my perfume that's bringing them all in. My bacon brings all the boys to the yard.
The line was clearly meant to show a more relaxed and humorous side of her personality. Some viewers laughed and moved on. Others found the moment awkward, saying it felt scripted rather than spontaneous. Before long, the clip spread online with reaction videos and social media posts, turning it into another widely discussed scene from the series. The Netflix series was supposed to reshape Meghan's public image, but just weeks later, another carefully shared personal moment reignited the same debate. This time, it wasn't filmed in a kitchen. It was a pregnancy dance video that quickly spread across the internet. The Netflix clips were still making headlines when another personal moment suddenly took over the conversation. This time, Meghan and Harry wanted to show a lighter side of themselves, but the reaction was just as divided. To celebrate Lilibet's birthday, the couple shared a video of themselves dancing together in a hospital room shortly before her birth. The clip showed them laughing, dancing, and joking as they waited for labor to begin. Many supporters saw it as a sweet family memory that happened to be shared with the public. Others questioned why such a private moment was released at all, especially after the couple had repeatedly spoken about wanting more privacy for their family.
I think the tackiness comes from somebody who's a member of the British royal family putting out a twerking, heavily pregnant video with him dancing around like a wooden clown next to him. It's all just embarrassing. And it chips away.
Critics argued the video felt carefully chosen to soften their public image, while supporters viewed the criticism as unfair. Whatever the intention, the clip sparked another wave of debate that overshadowed the joyful moment itself. That same tension over what should stay private followed Meghan into the quietest parts of her life, the small moments of raising Archie and Lilibet that soon turned into their own kind of story. As we teased earlier, this is the one you might find the most absurd yet.
I love that I can do drop off and pick up at school and do meetings in between and go to Disneyland for 2 days.
The conversation quickly shifted from work to motherhood. Meghan often spoke about reading bedtime stories, preparing breakfast, making school lunches, and spending time with Archie and Lilibet. They were ordinary moments that millions of parents experience every day. The goal seemed clear. These stories helped present Meghan as a hands-on mother, despite her busy schedule.
We'll say, for myself, especially when they're babies. And yes, the crime. Before I was a mom, and I've always wanted to be a mom. Before I was a mom, it's like, oh gosh, I'm going to give a speech with a baby on my hip. I had a whole vision. I was like, I'm just going to. And then you fast forward. Granted, I had a lot of external things happening by the time I had both pregnancies and both babies, but it was not the way I envisioned it. For me, it's so important that my kids see me as a working mom.
Supporters saw those moments as genuine glimpses into family life. Critics, however, felt they were being presented as accomplishments rather than everyday responsibilities. The lifestyle image didn't stop with family stories or Netflix. It soon became the foundation of Meghan's newest business venture. After rebranding her lifestyle company as Ever, Meghan introduced products like fruit preserves, tea, and baking mixes while promoting a slower, more personal way of living. The launch attracted enormous attention, with many products selling out quickly. At the same time, the rollout drew criticism over trademark issues, branding changes, and whether the carefully curated image felt authentic. Supporters praised Meghan for building her own business, while critics argued the brand relied more on publicity than originality. Once again, the products became only part of the story. The conversation quickly shifted to Meghan's public image and the strategy behind it. That same strategy appeared again with another major launch, this time through a podcast built around successful women. The lifestyle brand wasn't Meghan's only attempt to reshape the conversation. She soon returned to podcasting with Confessions of a Female Founder, presenting it as a series of honest conversations with women who built successful businesses. The podcast was promoted as a chance to hear personal stories about ambition, setbacks, and success. Some listeners welcomed the fresh direction and high-profile guests. Others felt the discussions stayed too polished and rarely explored the harder questions people expected. The pattern had become difficult to ignore. One final question would bring all of those debates together and leave people asking whether the public had stopped responding to the strategy itself. By this point, the discussion was no longer about one interview, one product, or one television appearance. It had become about the pattern itself. From the Oprah interview to Netflix, from the farmer's market to As Ever, almost every major PR move followed a similar path. A carefully planned launch generated huge attention, supporters welcomed a new side of Meghan, critics questioned whether it felt genuine, and the public debate quickly became bigger than the project itself. That doesn't mean every campaign failed. Some attracted millions of viewers, sold products, or dominated headlines, but they also showed how difficult it had become to change public opinion once people had already formed strong views. Today, Meghan remains one of the most talked about public figures in the world. Whether her next project changes that conversation or simply starts another round of the same debate is something only time will answer. This is Jane Exposé, but what do you think? Smart strategy or PR disaster? Comment below, hit like, and subscribe for more royal stories.